Haunted Hangover. Halloween's. No. Wow. Yeah, that's weird. On home. All right. It still says upcoming. Let's see. That show starts soon.
It
Yep.
says we were live 2 minutes ago.
Well, but it's on now. Our pre-roll is on. You can hear us over the show starts soon.
Wonderful.
Says we were live 2 minutes ago. There's our delay, that wonderful delay that we love so much.
Oh my God.
The no one who's here can listen to us now. The Hunger, starring David Bowie, Susan Sarandon, and Catherine Deneuve, was released in the U.S. theaters April 29th, 1983. That makes The Hunger 41 years old today. Here's a fun fact for everybody, in case they cared. Doesn't seem like they do, because there's nobody talking about it. Watching Roman Reigns on a hoverboard. Here he goes, rolling, roll. You want to bust your ass. Damn it, he didn't fall.
Roman Reigns on a hoverboard.
That's the video I just saw.
Wait, is it like, did someone edit him into like Back to the
No,
Future?
No. Like one of the single wheel hoverboard things, like an actual one of those. That's what they're called, hoverboard.
I thought it was literally like someone took Roman Reigns and cut him into Back to the Future Part 2.
That would be good. But no. Yeah, I'm thinking when you click that 2 minutes, that's what is. I don't know. Whatever. It's running. We'll be on soon.
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Crack-a-lackin'.
We're live once again.
Welcome, Hangover. To Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns on a hoverboard. No, welcome to Haunted Hangover Live, episode 4. Fourth time we're doing this, Manny.
Monday Night Hangover.
Monday Night. You always want to go Monday Night Raw. We always go Monday Night Raw here at Haunted Hangover.
It is Monday though, isn't it? Oh, that's good. That means I'm not working tonight. Usually we record on Tuesdays. So I'm used to like getting off and then I have to go to work. And now, wait, I don't have to go to work tonight. We could be here all night.
A 7-hour stream. Let's do it.
We're not going to talk about the movies. We're just going to watch them.
We're going to watch each film back to back. Here you go.
Everyone.
No, that's not what we're going to do. This is an idea Manny had. We've been talking about it for a while now. Yeah. We thought it would work best for a live show.
Mm-hmm.
So that is recently seen.
Yes.
In the world of horror adjacent genre films, things we've watched in the theater at film festivals, because this is going to be a film festival heavy episode of the
This
podcast,
one will be.
because
This one.
Manny visited a big
Yes.
horror film festival.
What to add to that as well, we're going to do more of these in the future because both of us are doing the 365 the 365 horror 365 challenge, which is watching 365 horror films throughout the course of 1 year. And we've added the stipulation to ourselves. I have anyway. I don't know how much he's going to stick to it, but speaking for myself, 365 horror films that I have not seen before. I did it last year and I hit about 390, I think I got to at the end of the year. Right now I think I'm at 97 or 98 for the year.
You got me beat. I am
But
at around 12 movies.
that's fine.
You'll
You'll find it easier as you go along.
Yeah.
Right in the beginning, it's very daunting.
Yeah.
But eventually it starts to add up, especially when you hit that how many movies can you watch in October?
Yeah.
You'll knock out 100 right there. Just because you'll do like 2 a day just for the fun of it,
I've been trying to. So one quick thing, I am doing 366. I'm adding another film because it's a leap year. Right?
Well, yeah, but I'm the same thing. But the popular hashtag is horror 365.
Yeah.
So I'm going along with that. But everybody doing the challenge is doing 366.
Yeah. I have my little letterboxed folder or whatever you call them, your list that I've been putting films that I have never seen into it. So that's how I'm kind of keeping track of it. I
have 2 lists.
You have 2 lists. So
one for the ones I've never seen and one for all the 2024 releases.
Okay. I'm not going that hard.
Well, it's so that I don't have to find them at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea for when we do our end of the year.
Exactly. It's
episode.
Specifically for that.
So I should probably, before my number starts to get higher, I should probably separate those. But it is not an easy task. So I too am doing films I had never seen. Obviously, I'm lumping in movies from this year because I had never seen them.
I am too. 100%. Yes.
As well as some older films I had never seen. And I'm trying every week to at least sit down and watch 3 movies. With my busy schedule, sometimes that's even hard. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? Louis, don't watch wrestling tonight. Watch a movie instead. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do with this.
I haven't caught up with wrestling at all. I don't watch wrestling anymore just out of inconvenience because I don't have cable TV, so I don't watch any of that. And honestly, what I realized watching Raw on Hulu, they cut it down to 90 minutes, and I've seen that a lot of the matches I actually want to see are not part of that broadcast.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird,
Interesting.
So I don't even bother half the time. Like, forget it.
Yeah, I try to, right now is the slump in the wrestling because WrestleMania just happened. So wrestling is not as, it's not booming right now because everyone's kind of in that lull right now period until SummerSlam, which is where things pick up again. But that takes up my time. But sometimes I do tell myself, like, I don't really want to sit through Raw anyway, 3 hours. It's usually like 15 minutes is good of Raw.
That's about it.
So I'll watch like a movie instead. I'll watch the opening segment and then that's where I watch my movies that I haven't seen.
They post a lot on Instagram.
Yeah. So jump on Twitter.
You
get all the highlights.
I just watch those and that's it.
Exactly. Get all the highlights on Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, to go back to the topic at hand and not wrestling, films you had never seen, recently seen, which we're lumping that up into into these type of episodes. The first thing I want to start out with is this. Now, before we go into the Overlook Film Festival, which you just went to, I did randomly. This was a random discovery. So here in New York, there's something called barbecue films. And I'll try to keep this short so we're not here all night.
Oh, okay. I know barbecue films.
So barbecue films, I had gone to maybe 1 or 2 of their events. Yeah. They're kind of like a theater group who put on these immersive film screenings. So usually they'll rent out, like I went to a Ghostbusters one where they rented out a warehouse. This was like in 2016, 2017. They rented out a warehouse and they made it
both went.
look, yeah. Did you go to that?
Roach was in it.
Oh, yes, you're right. So,
We both went.
so
That was which
so-
means that was 2014 or so.
well, no,
2013.
that was something else you're thinking of. This is a
Okay.
different thing. Yeah, this is something else. But
Okay.
so yeah, so it's a theater group that puts these screenings together and they make it as immersive as possible. I actually did a write-up of it that's on the Patreon page from 2016 on the Haunted Hangover Patreon page. You could read it. I wrote like 5 paragraphs about my experience at the Barbecue Films Ghostbuster experience or whatever.
For those who read.
For those who read. I wrote this
For the
a few years
literate
ago. Yeah.
For the literate members of our audience.
So I get emails from them from time to time, and they do put some really cool events together. I'll be very honest. Sometimes they're for stuff like The Fast and the Furious, which I'm not into.
Yeah.
So that's not something that intrigues me. Ghostbusters I like, so I'm going to go to a Ghostbusters thing. But I recently saw that they put up something for Speak of the Devil, our last live, Late Night with the Devil, where they put together a small event with David, what's his
Das
name?
Machia.
There you go. He was
Das
there
Machia.
in character with a horror host called Martin Monster.
Okay.
So I wanted to go, but I couldn't because I had a family birthday thing that night, so I couldn't make it. It was a free event. Sign up, get tickets. They had this whole show, which I believe is streaming on Shudder. I have not seen it yet. So, long story short, Martin Monster is now doing a monthly horror host screening in Brooklyn. So I randomly went with Chris, one of the Haunted Hangover crew members that comes on the show from time to time. I went with Chris and my wife, and they screened Demon Night. And it was, think like Joe Bob, Elvira kind of combined. So like less making fun of the movie and more being informative, and then also kind of like a theater. So there is like a narrative in the wraparound breaks from the film. He does interrupt the movie. And it was a lot of fun. So just a little shout out there to the Martin Monster show. Probably doesn't listen to Haunted Hangover, but I do plan on going again in the future, maybe next month or in June, and checking out what other screens. It's good to see stuff like that here in New York City because in honesty, we don't really have a lot of stuff like that. We don't. There's not a lot of like horror hosts or kind of events that are screening and immersive in the horror world. So I thought it was really cool. There was actually a decent amount of people there. One really thing I got a kick out of, I guess they made cookies in the shape of that amulet from Demon Night. Everyone knows. I'm assuming all the listeners know about Demon Night, the Tales from the Crypt movie from '95 with Billy Zane. But they made cookies that looked like the amulet. There was a narrative that throughout that the VHS copy of Demon Night was like the amulet. And Martin Monster had it in his possession, so he was like next in line. And there was a person in a cowboy hat mimicking Billy Zane. Really cool experience. I've always loved Demon Night, so I hadn't seen it in maybe a year or two. It's been a couple of years since I last watched it, so it was fun to see it on a screen, in that type of environment with all the one-liners and people laughing and the audience kind of getting involved in it. It was cool. So that was something I just wanted to talk about here because technically recently seen, not for the first time. I had seen Demon Night several times in my life, but I just thought it was a cool kind of thing that they're doing.
Quite a few, John. Yes.
And I would like to get Martin Monster maybe on the show, so I might have to reach out to him and see if I can get him on as a guest one day or something. So see what happens. But
That's
moving
cool.
on,
You did that. There's a connection there, actually.
Okay.
At Overlook, they did a screening in 3D of the Creature from Black Lagoon.
Okay.
And Dalsmalkian hosted it as a horror host.
Yeah, I think he has like a horror host character too.
Yes, he does. I'm trying to find the name of it. I don't know, but yeah, he has a character. It's called green. He's got a green skin and like a wig that he's got. But he hosted the creature screening.
That's pretty cool.
That. Yeah, in character. They did the whole horror host stream. Oh, there it is. Count Crowley.
Oh, okay.
Count
I
Crowley.
did not. I did. I that's pretty cool. I didn't know that was like a thing he
Yes.
was doing. I guess outside of acting and other stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
Count Crowley creator David Dastmalchian hosting live stream with Professor Griffin. Okay, his character's name is Doctor Fearless.
Gotcha.
And then Marlena Midnight and Ormond Grimsby were there as well.
Okay, so this was like
That
this
was
was that type of deal
Oh, that's
where
an old one. Nope, sorry, that's an old one. But nonetheless, he did do it here too. He
yeah.
did that same character. That's an old thing that he did. But yeah, he
No,
did it in character, which was cool. So
yeah.
funny that you went to a horror host thing and you want to move into Overlook. Well, there's your segue.
There you go. So yeah, moving on to from the horror host situation to your experience at Overlook Film Festival, which is
Yeah.
in New Orleans, correct?
Yes. Yes. It was
So
in New
talk
Orleans.
about it, Manny. What was the event like?
It was a cool event. They have it in the Britannia Theater.
Mm.
It's actually there's two theaters. The Britannia Uptown, and then there's the Britannia, the main theater. The Uptown, actually, I think the Uptown is probably, we didn't go to that one. That's the bigger theater, and that's where they had the bigger premieres. We actually didn't make it over to that just because of, I'm going to say maybe a 25 minute drive to get over there because it's farther in New Orleans. And that was where they screened Abigail. They had the Beyond screening, oh, damn it. Yeah, the opening and closing nights. So Abigail, and they had Cuckoo there as well.
Mhm.
Those were like for the opening and closing nights. They had those. And so yeah, we didn't make it over that. So that's a big single screen theater. We were at the Britannia Theater, which is on Canal Street, I believe it is. And it's a multiplex. Theaters are kind of small. The
Hmm.
theaters themselves, maybe 75 to 100 seats each theater, but nice, really big, comfortable seats. Um, so it was really cool. They had it on. They had the films on like 5 different screens for 4 days, and everything played two, sometimes three times. So you were actually able to kind of, jump around and see different films. It was really cool. A lot of big films coming out. We got to see them early. Like it was the world premiere of Abigail, and that was on April, I want to say the 3rd. It was 2 weeks before it hit theaters. They played movies we're going to get into.
Yeah.
I did not go to the Abigail just because I knew it was coming to theaters. And I said,
Yeah.
well, there's a lot of other films I want to see, and this is going to be out in 2 weeks. So as much as I'd like to go, Radio Silence was there, but as much as I want to go, there were other things we wanted to see instead. And I said, well, I'm going to see this in the theater in 2 weeks.
The festival moves around, right?
No, it's
It's always in New Orleans.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't
Yes.
sure
Always
if it
New Orleans.
bounced
Yeah,
around in different locations. So
the main group of people that run this also run the New Orleans Film Festival, which is 20-30 years been going,
okay.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is kind of their horror spin-off of that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the one you're thinking of, there's another festival that's at the Stanley Hotel.
Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, there is another festival that's at Stanley Hotel, which is not this.
That's where the Overlook. That's maybe what threw me
That's
off.
the actual exactly.
I was
Exactly.
like, oh, maybe I'm just confusing it because that's the actual
No,
Overlook, and
that's
this
the
is,
actual Overlook.
This is the Overlook Film Festival.
Yeah.
So to go into the movies, because that's what we're here for. Recently seen once again.
Yep.
Rattle off some movies. You know what I would say? Maybe what were, and you can do this in whatever order you want,
My
but
tickets.
there you go. If you had to rank them, if you had to just kind of rattle off all the movies you saw in order, maybe stick to the movies you loved at the film festival. We're not here to bash
No.
any movies. Maybe the top, like your top, I don't know, 5, 6, your favorite movies that you saw at the Overlook Film Festival.
Okay. Well, those are my tops right there.
Okay.
My top five films that I saw there were number one, Infested.
Which just dropped on Shudder like
Yes.
a couple days ago. So
Friday. Yes.
Yeah.
That was number one. That was the last film we watched at the fest. That was my top one. No, second, very close second was Cuckoo.
Which I can't wait to see.
Oh, so good. So good. I'll get into it. The next one after that is Hoodwitch,
Okay.
which is a French film. That was my third. In a Violent Nature.
which I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, another excellent film.
Yeah.
And I Don't Understand You. I would the two of them are kind of neck and neck because they're two totally different types of films.
Yeah.
So
In that group, the two I'm most excited for,
mhm,
In a Violent Nature, I think drops at the end of May.
mhm.
It'll be in theaters, and I'm sure it'll be on demand a little after that. In a Violent Nature and Cuckoo are probably the
Yeah,
two in that group. Infested, I'm curious about, which I'll probably watch sometime this
yeah.
week. But those two are the ones I'm really excited to check out when they
Okay.
finally get released.
I saw the TV Glow as well. That's a
Yeah, you
close.
told me off air
Yes,
before we recorded that I'm gonna love
and we'll
that
get into
movie.
yes.
So
So let me. I'm just going to rattle through them real quick. Infested. It's on Shutter, so everybody check that out. I watched that. That was our last film of the weekend. It was literally the last time we watched Sunday night, and this is the best spider film ever made. This trumped Arachnophobia for me.
really,
Like, yes, I mean Arachnophobia is more of a comedy as well. It's got that
yeah.
this has funny moments, but it is definitely not a comedy.
I love how there's two Spider movies in 2024.
I know. And Sting
Interesting.
was cool too.
I haven't seen that yet, but I heard it
Sting
was
was
fun.
cool.
Yeah, I heard it was like fun. It's like not.
It is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
not
It's
mind
fun.
blowing. It's just fun. Yeah,
Um, Infested is a movie, especially in the theater. If you were not afraid of spiders going in, you were afraid of them coming out.
I can't wait to watch it. It sounds
This-
horrifying.
The audience was yelling, screaming, squirming, like shouting, jumping, everything. Like this was one of the most active screenings I've seen that was not for like a classic film. Like we've gone to screenings of Texas Chainsaw and, we've seen Halloween in theaters and stuff. And, the audience is very, very active
No,
with
of
it
course,
because they
yeah.
know the film. This is the first time I think, well, Quiet Place Quiet Place did the same thing where people would jump because the theater was so quiet. There was constantly a sound happening of somebody going, oh God, oh no,
Yeah.
people gripping their seats because the spiders just mess with you.
Yeah,
um, so that was, yeah, that shot to the top. Maybe it's also because of the experience of being in this very active, loud, raucous theater just made the whole experience of the film so much more fun.
what's funny is it's one of the last movies you saw at the festival. So
It was, yes, it was the
yeah.
last, and I felt like it was the perfect way to end the fest.
Is there a
Because,
number that? How many movies did you see in total? Do you even know?
we went to 13 blocks.
Wow.
Two of them were short blocks.
Okay.
So 14 blocks. So we saw 12 films and two short film blocks.
Wow, you guys saw a lot of movies
Yeah.
then. Hell
Yeah.
How many days is it? 3 days?
4
days. Wow. Yeah.
4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at like 3 films a day, 3 to 4 films per day.
That's cool.
Yeah. Cuckoo was what did we see? I think we saw Cuckoo. I don't know. It doesn't matter when we saw. So we did see it opening night. She's in the next room. She can hear me. But we saw that opening night. We also saw Hoodwitch opening night, right? Hoodwitch was Saturday. Okay, so we did see Cuckoo opening night. Cuckoo is wow. Wow. This movie was an assault on the senses. Like, if you can see it in the theater, see it in the theater. Okay.
That's my plan.
Yes. Real easy. I had it written down. Sorry. The synopsis of it is essentially you have a girl who is brought to, her family moves to this weird retreat in Germany. Okay. Her mother died, so she's with her father and the stepsister and stepmother. She starts working for Dan Stevens runs the place that the retreat that they're staying in. And he's somewhat of a weirdo therapist. It's not really clear what exactly he is at first, and that's kind of the point of the film. Things unravel as it goes on. But they also but this retreat, there's a hotel as part of it, so he gives her a job working the front desk at the hotel. Okay? And it's essentially like one thing that he tells her is that 10 o'clock, you go home. Get home, don't wander, don't dilly-dally, get straight the hell home. And almost immediately, she starts to realize, wait a minute, why can't I be out at night?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to go much farther than that because that's it. There's
You what?
weird stuff in the woods. Dan Stevens is running it. Yeah, this movie.
I want to say one thing about Dan Stevens. I
Oh,
love that 2024 is the year Dan Stevens
this is
plays eccentric,
yes.
weird. Three movies this
Yep.
year: Kong, Godzilla, Abigail, which we're gonna get into,
Hmm.
and Cuckoo. It sounds like, even though I haven't seen it yet, but from what you're
Yes.
telling me,
Yes. He's a
this is
weirdo
the
German.
year. This is the year that Dan Stevens just decided to be in to play these
Everything.
weird to play, and I love it. I'm here for it. Like I think every from the two movies I've seen where he's playing like these weird characters, he's fantastic and charismatic
Yep.
as hell in those
He
movies.
is.
So I'm
And
sure in Cuckoo that continues.
oh, he's a weirdo German. He's got a heavy German
I
accent.
love how he has an accent in every movie too.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
so strange.
I even just watched him in The Rental 2 days ago.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good
From the-
movie too. Yeah.
I just watched him in that. So like I am, overloaded on Dan Stevens right now.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
You know?
He's the man. Dude, Dan Stevens is the man, dude. That, like, I like
Yeah.
I'm
And
glad he's kind of popping up, especially this year, in a lot of like cool shit.
yeah.
So it's good to see that, because I
And I'm
feel
gonna
like
tell you,
he wasn't around for a little while, and then now he's like, all
he
right,
kind of dipped out.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting career, but I'm all for it, man.
And he is the creeper of the century in this movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
From the
From
minute
the
you see
trailer,
him,
I can tell.
from the minute you see him, just the look on his face, like that dude's creepy.
Yes.
Wow. He
And I'm sure he kills the role. I'm sure he slays
Yes.
it.
Oh, he does.
So
He does.
I can't wait.
The movie's crazy. I really don't want to spoil, but all of the
Yeah.
hype that's been going in, yes, 100%, totally. And again, it's an assault on your senses, which is why I say see it in the theater. It's loud. There's sounds of the stuff that's in the woods. It gets real loud. Like you're gonna cover your ears at some points because holy crap. And then the visuals that go with it, yeah, the movie's nuts. It's going to make you earn it.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Hood Witch, which is a modern day witch hunt. It's in I think it's in Syria actually. It's a French film, but I think it takes place in Syria. We're in this kind of close to alternate universe where witchcraft is a real thing. And that's really the only difference between this world and the real world. That witchcraft is real. Okay. And so this woman creates an app that you can hire a witch doctor, so like Uber, but for hexes and curses and spells and tarot readings and all this sort of thing. So she creates an app and the app gets really popular. She herself does not actually practice any of this. She's just kind of, taking advantage of it. She also imports the exotic animals like the newt that you would need to take its eye. She imports that, and sometimes she imports illegal animals as well.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
So she's supplying a lot of the local witch doctors and stuff with these sorts of things and selling these animals and weird things through the app. Okay. That's just the small backstory of it. What happens is there's this one kid in the apartment complex that she lives in that dies. Okay. He falls off the balcony and they blame her for it. And now the entire apartment complex is going to hunt her down as a witch.
Wow.
Because
That's
they
a cool
think it
concept.
they believe
Yeah.
that she's a witch and she cursed him and that's why he died.
Okay.
So now we're in modern day with cell phones and everything of her running from the neighborhood, and it's slowly growing because you're seeing her on TikTok and Instagram, videos of her on the subway, and her son, and then the ex-husband is adding fuel to the fire by saying he kidnapped her son, all of this, and they're hunting her down as a witch. She's on the news. There's a witch in the town and she's cursing people, blah, blah, all that.
Yeah.
So it's a modern day witch hunt, and it's
pretty cool.
Riveting. Like,
really? Okay.
wow.
You're selling me on it. It sounds like like a pretty unique concept for a horror, like a witch
so
themed
well
horror
done.
film. Yeah, sounds cool.
It's so well done. I loved it. I'm so glad we got to catch it because that was one. I think we were trying to get into another screening and it was sold out already. So I had Hood Witch on the list. I said, well, let's go let's go see that. And I'm really glad we did. What really made me sad about it though is there was only about maybe 15 people in the theater because everybody else was at the other one.
Gotcha. I see what you're
So
saying.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh man. And we kept telling people during the weekend, like, if you can get to the second screening of Hood Witch, go to it because it was one that people missed.
I'm sure it'll get decent distribution and people will get their eyes on it. I'm sure. Maybe.
I'm I'm hoping that it's probably gonna hit Shutter. It seems like a lot of the
Yeah.
films at the festival are gonna hit Shutter, but like it's a witch hunt.
Shutter just gobbling up
Misogyny,
all all the
sexism.
indie
Yeah,
films.
well, yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
yeah, everything, domestic violence, religious
Yeah.
fanaticism, it's all in there. It's very heavily, I wouldn't say political, but it is current,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
So that was great. In a Violent Nature.
Can't wait for that one.
Oh, gonna go real short. It is exactly what it looks like. You are video game following the killer through the woods. Occasionally we break off, but we don't break off from the killer. We'll watch what he's watching.
Yeah, dude, that trailer basically explains the movie in a nutshell from what I can tell.
It is an ASMR of a screensaver slasher film.
It's
Like,
Jason Voorhees ASMR.
it is, dude. It is, because I'm gonna say maybe 40 to 50% of the movie is just following him walking in the woods, just
I can't
quietly.
wait, dude. It's very sick.
Different.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you, there is one kill in this movie that is going to shoot to the top of like top 10 kills you've ever seen.
Really?
It's insane because the director even said it. He said, we did this. And then we said, okay, well, how can we make it worse? Okay, well, how can we make that worse? And the kill just keeps happening. It reminds me of the bedroom in Terrifier 2, where it's like it just kept escalating. It's like, what more are we gonna do to this girl?
Oh, don't spoil it, man. Don't slip.
No. I'm not spoiling anything.
Because I could
Trust
see
me, you're not gonna see it coming.
I could see us getting my perspective and diving a little deeper into it in the future. Especially that one. I think that one, and from the bunch you told me, Cuckoo and In a Violent Nature are going to be two big horror movies this year. In a Violent Nature, just because we haven't gotten a Jason movie, like a Friday the 13th movie in years. And this seems like a more artistic take. Yeah. It's almost like they couldn't get the rights to Jason. So they made a Friday the 13th movie without the IP.
And what's really awesome is there is a cameo from someone from Friday the 13th 2 at the end of the film.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Don't say anymore.
Nope, I'm not. But I did speak to the director afterwards, and I told him, I said, first off, this was really great. Second, I said, you made the movie we've all wanted to make, because we've been on this. I told him, and it's funny that Friday the 13th 2 makes a cameo, because I said that we have this conversation on set many times where the beginning of Friday the 13th 2, she hears a sound. She comes down into the kitchen and it's the cat. And then she opens the fridge and Jason's mom's head is in the fridge. I said, and the conversation we have is, what the hell is Jason doing? He took the head, walked it from there to walk in the house, stick it in the fridge, made a sound, and then hid in the dark and waited for her to come down.
Yeah.
What is Jason doing? And that's exactly what he made, is the movie of what is Jason doing?
Yeah.
And there is at least one moment where he does set something up and then walk around to watch it unfold.
It's funny that you mentioned that. You know why? Because when you watch Friday the 13th Part 2, it starts with you follow Jason, walking up the curb and stepping in a puddle. There's like a little kid playing outside. So it's almost like, what if you continued, you're right, like continue to follow him through the house, I guess, beat by beat, what Jason's doing, leading to... That is
exactly what it is.
It's one of my anticipated movies this year. And it sounds like it's a fun movie. Without you spoiling it too much, it sounds like it's a fun movie. So I can't wait. We're definitely gonna loop back around and dive into that one a little bit more. So
100%, yeah. Okay, and then my number 5 for that is I Don't Understand You,
which I don't know anything about that one.
This I didn't know either. She had heard about it. I don't know who these guys are. I know who they are, but I just let me get their names real quick. They are Andrew Reynolds and Nick Kroll. They're both from Big Mouth.
Oh, Nick Kroll's from What We Do in the Shadows, the comedian, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, I know
yes.
who that is. Yeah,
The two of them are both the main characters in
yeah.
Big Mouth, though.
Okay, I know him from
The
what he's one
one,
of the vampires and like he's like one of the like supporting characters in What We Do in the Shadows. I'm a big fan of that
yes,
show. So
yes. So
yeah.
this movie is about the two of them. They are a couple who are celebrating their anniversary,
Okay.
and they're also working on adopting a child. So this is kind of a celebratory weekend for them, and they go on a trip to Italy. And so one of them, his uncle, sets up this dinner, this anniversary dinner for them with this woman who ran this restaurant that's, you know, highly regarded, but she's since retired, and he set up a thing for them to get a private dinner cooked by her.
Okay.
Okay. That's the setup of the film. Essentially, from that point forward, it is um, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Ah, okay.
The language barrier of them speaking English and everyone else speaking Italian, things go wrong,
Sounds
people die,
yeah.
and that's why the movie is called I Don't Understand You.
That's
Because that's the
hilarious.
yes.
Yeah. So
And it is absolutely hilarious. So
okay.
it's just in a series of misunderstandings that just keep escalating the situation and
Oh,
making it
dude.
worse.
That sounds like
Yes.
fun too.
Yes.
Oh wow. I gotta watch that one. I'm sure that'll be on something soon. So
What's crazy is, like I said, I hadn't heard of it. I saw it on the schedule, of course, but I hadn't
yeah.
heard of it before. Besides, even on Letterboxd right now, it doesn't even have a poster on there right now.
Oh, it
Like
probably
there's
doesn't have
no
distribution yet. They're probably
nothing.
looking for something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not even a poster. There's not even poster art for it, which is really crazy, you know. But
Well,
yeah,
Nick Kroll's he's a known comedian, so I'm sure someone will snatch that up
I'm.
and that'll be
I
streaming
hope so.
somewhere. Like I
I
said,
hope so
he's
because it
been
was
on What We
absolutely
Do in the
hilarious.
Shadows, and he's great on that show and
Yeah,
the one vampire he plays sometimes. So
hmm
he's a funny dude. So if it's the
absolutely
guy I'm
hilarious.
thinking, so it's the guy with the
I
big
know it
he's,
is.
he's got like big eyes and stuff. It's
Yes,
kind of a weird way to describe him, but
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
He
He's the
used to have a
main
Kroll
kid
show. He
on.
had his own show, I think, on Comedy
I think so.
Central. I think Kroll Show, I think is what it was called. So he's a funny
Maybe.
dude, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's the main kid, the main character of Big Mouth, and his I think it's his boyfriend in the show
okay.
is the other guy. So
Okay.
they play like a teenage couple, two kids who I think they're in love with each other. I don't know. I really don't watch Big Mouth that much, but I know that they like
Neither have
each
I.
other
Mhm.
on Big Mouth, and they're a couple in this, and they're really good together. They have great, really great chemistry together. So it's very sweet and hilarious and very violent. You know, there's some really crazy stuff that happens, but I don't want to get too much into it as well because again, spoilers. And the last one is I saw the TV Glow, which is my honorable mention for number 6 for it, and I really want to cover it because I know that you're gonna love this.
Yeah, I want to see it. I did like read about it a little bit, and I remember. So I remember. I think it's the same person that directed. What's the other weird movie?
Um, we all go to the World's Fair.
That one. Yeah. So I do. When you mentioned it, I was like, I think I did read about this a while ago. I heard about it. So
Yeah,
I am curious. I did
just
like
trying to
that
find the
one.
name of the trying to find the name of the show. So essentially, the movie begins in like late 90s.
Okay.
Okay, it's like 96, 97. There is a TV show. I'm trying to find the name of the damn TV show. I've seen it everywhere. Damn it. Yeah, I had it in every review that I've seen has it written. Now I can't find it. But anyway, it takes place in the late night. It starts in the late 90s when they're teenagers. And it's very snick. This is
Mm.
like a narrative. Basically, the show they watch is the feeling of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Only it's
Okay.
a straight narrative.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yes,
So.
it's that. So that's the TV show that they're obsessed with. It's like a couple of the story of the girls in the TV show is that they're two girls who are apparently separated at birth, and now they have a connection to each other. You know?
Mm.
Yeah, so but they live on opposite ends of the town. They never actually see each other, but they solve supernatural crimes because they can speak to each other. That's what the show they watch is all about. You know, the two girls have like like a matching birthmark tattoo on the back of their neck, which is a little smiley face ghost.
Okay.
You know,
It sounds
dude,
interesting.
you will absolutely love the film.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that one too. Just from what you're telling me, it sounds like it's my vibe. So,
Yes, totally. So that's what the story is in the show. The two of them is that the one kid doesn't really have any friends. He comes across Bridget Lundy Payne, and she's reading like a companion novel, a companion book to the TV show. And the two of them start talking. So he watches the show because of her, because he wants to. She seems interesting to him, and they become friends. And then they start to realize, or he starts to realize, that the TV show may not be just a TV show.
okay.
I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. It gets otherworldly, multi-dimensional. We go back
Okay.
and forth in time between like 2006 or so back to 1997, like telling the two stories kind of concurrently,
Yeah.
you know, of him now versus how he remembers the show, and now, not now, but 2006, of like, wait, was that just a TV show, or did this really happen at some point?
Hmm.
What is the connection? But why did me and her like it so much? Blah blah. Yeah,
I gotta watch it. That sounds
you
cool.
you will love it because it nails that that Saturday night
Like that, yeah,
Nickelodeon
like the like
feel.
nostalgia side of
Yes,
things. Yeah,
it is a hundred
yeah.
percent you're up your alley.
Is there a trailer out right now?
Probably,
Yeah,
probably. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
it's
have to YouTube it and check it
yeah.
out. So,
Two of them are
um,
great together. It's got that Jennifer Reeder, David Lynch kind of feel to it.
mhm.
But with that like 90s nostalgia, just they nailed the feeling of that late
Can't
90s.
wait. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait to I can't wait to watch that. That sounds up my alley too. So your overall experience at Overlook, would you go next year? Fantastic.
I mean, if it was cheaper to get,
Yeah, New Orleans ain't cheap to
if it
fly to
wasn't a
sometimes.
$1,000 trip to get to,
Yeah, dude.
yes, if it was easy to go, absolutely, I would go to Overlook every year just for the fact that they play so many movies in advance. There's a couple of festivals that are like that. This is one. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
looks.
I,
It
I
sounds
totally
like
enjoyed it.
they're playing. It sounds like this year they played a lot of good shit.
Yeah.
It just
Well, last year they had Renfield. They had the Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
okay.
They did a lot of really big movies
Yeah,
last
yeah.
year as well. So this is kind of what they do. Um,
So you
so
definitely would go, but not with
yeah,
that. But not with that flight ticket.
cost if cost prohibitive, absolutely.
Yeah, man,
Yes.
that's cool. Like I said, I'd like to go one year. You always hear about it. It's one of the big horror, specific to the genre film
Mhm.
festivals. So would you consider it one of the top horror film festivals?
Probably, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's one of
yeah,
them.
this is
Top
yeah,
five,
but
probably.
well, you know what? It's a different kind of film. It's a different kind of film, horror film festival than what we're used to going to.
Yeah.
The horror festivals that we generally have gone to over the years are really indie films, and this is more for bigger films.
Yeah, these are bigger,
It's
but these are not micro budgeted
Yeah,
movies. These
yeah.
are,
This is
yeah.
different level of film festival. This is, you go to this so that you can see things in advance. You're going to see it like Cuckoo's not coming out till August.
This is the film festival where distribution is being
Yes.
found or had
Yeah.
already.
This is
I get
this
it.
is the
Yeah.
top tier. This is
Yeah.
here. This is like Fantasia is
Yeah.
like that. The other one in Colorado, not the Stanley Hotel one.
Is
Oh,
Boston
I can't think of the name.
Underground? That's a big one, right?
Yeah, Boston Underground has a few like this, but they are also more indie films.
Yeah.
You know, the one in France, I can't remember the name of it. That's also a lot bigger films. Um, yeah, it's a different level of festival than what we normally go to.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get it.
Yeah, I'm
I don't want
explaining
I
to
don't
the
want to
people
bash those.
listening.
I don't want to bash those
No, no, no,
festivals.
no.
Sound
No,
like
that's
we
what I'm saying.
are. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm not bashing them at all. It's a different category of
It's
festival.
a
There's
different
one,
breed of
yeah. There's some
festival.
some types of festivals that are more focused on the indie films and their submissions and lower budget filmmakers, and then there's other festivals that are more about showcasing the upcoming trends in horror and the next big film, and that's
Yeah.
what this is.
And it seems like Overlook has a lot of big films that are coming
Yes.
out. Some are coming out real soon. Some
Yep.
are out right now, like on Shudder,
Exactly.
Infested, which I'm gonna watch this week.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Larry
man.
Fessenden played his new film Blackout.
Okay.
His werewolf film was there. You
Okay.
know, yeah. There was a couple other big films. Again, I don't want to get into two. Again, we watched 13 movies, and
You
let's not
guys
go do
watched
all of them.
you guys watched a lot of shit
You know,
in 4 days. So sounds cool,
yes.
man. I could see you going, maybe not next year, but maybe the following year. You'll spread
Mm-hmm.
it out. Maybe every 2 or 3 years you guys can go back.
Yeah.
I'd love to go one year, so maybe that'll be something we do in the future. Who knows? Now to jump to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's not my stuff's not as exciting. Because I didn't go to a cool
I think it
festival
is. I
like you
haven't
did.
seen the movie you're about to talk to about, so it's exciting to me. I've never seen it.
So I like we were talking about our challenge and watching stuff that we had never seen. So there's two movies I had never seen, one from the 80s, one from I believe 90. And I remember throughout the years always coming across them. One is Tenement,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is Spontaneous Combustion, which sounds like a ridiculous movie. Now, I knew both of these movies existed, and one of them I owned for probably 15 years, and I think you own the same DVD.
I do.
Got it from the same place
Yep.
for like $4, and
Yep.
for some
$3.99
reason,
DVD.
I had never seen it. Now, I don't even know, and I'll start with Spontaneous Combustion. Toby Hooper, Brad Dourif. It's literally a movie about a guy who his parents were exposed to radiation during, I guess, like nuclear bomb testing, like a underground bunker, and he's born afterwards, and he is literally going to spontaneous combust when he turns like 35 or some shit like that. Little convoluted.
Like you said, I have the DVD. I watched it when I got it.
Yeah.
And I have not watched it since. I don't remember any of this. It's been
Now,
so long.
I will admit, it's not a great movie. I think I gave it like 2.5 stars on my letterbox.
Toby Hooper had a few like real in the middle there.
Some questionable decisions were
Yes.
made. But the way I see it is this. I like Toby Hooper. I love Brad Dourif. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit. Brad Dourif is one of those, like, at least to me, he's one of those actors that when he's in the shittiest movie, he sprinkles a little extra seasoning on it. You know what I mean? He makes it a little better. All fair, we talked about Trauma. He's in a blink and you'll miss it couple scenes, but he's great in the 2 or 3 scenes he's in. Spontaneous Combustion is 90 minutes of Brad Dourif in a otherwise weak, reading
crazy.
from basically a really weak script with Brad Dourif. But
Crazy.
I think one of the best things about it is his performance, obviously. And I think there are some sick kind of, obviously it's spontaneous combustion, effects with him imploding and ooze erupting from him. Again, this is like a 30-year-old movie, so no spoiler warning.
I was
here.
gonna say don't try and hold
Yes.
back the spoilers here, as I just watched the Brad Dourif movie too, Night Watch.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen that from '97. I'd never seen it.
It's a good one too. It's
Brad
ridiculous.
Dourif, Ewan McGregor, Patricia Arquette, Josh Brolin. What the hell?
I actually like that movie though. That
It was
is
okay.
a good movie. Yeah,
It was okay.
I actually like that movie. But yeah, Spontaneous Combustion, not the best, but I could tell you what, I probably would watch it again in like 5 years. Like I'd probably throw it on again. There are some elements
Maybe
that
your
I feel
taste changed and you like it more.
maybe. I think I just like Brad Dourif and I just like him. Like there's just something about him I've always liked. It's not just Chucky with him. There's a lot more he's done that has been great. He's one of the highlights of the Rob Zombie movies, the Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. Again, sprinkling a little seasoning on a turd. That is what Brad Dourif does in a movie. But I enjoyed Spontaneous Combustion. I'm glad I finally sat by myself on my couch. My wife had no interest. She goes, Spontaneous Combustion? What the hell's this movie about?
I might just put it on tonight, just for Ellen,
And
just to make her have the same response. What are we
You want
watching?
to hear the funny thing? What is this movie about? Spontaneous combustion. That's literally the plot
Original
of the
title
movie.
right there. They really put some thought into that one.
The marketing team They went in right there just to title the movie what the plot is about.
Let me
But
get
yeah,
spontaneous combustion.
Yes.
Winner.
Yes. It was fun,
Sold.
dude. It's dumb. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I could compare it to? And I would say Dario Argento's Phenomena. Not the best Argento movie, in my opinion, personal preference. Like, I do love it. But I love it because of some of the ridiculous shit that happens. Like the monkey,
The movie makes no sense
Yes.
whatsoever. And Jennifer Connelly carries it all.
yes, and
You know?
Donald Pleasance, who's great in it.
Yes.
And the monkey. The monkey is my favorite part. So it is a revenge plot from a monkey. But
Yeah.
I compare it to that. Like the movie is ridiculous and like just like they had a lot of ideas. And I said this in my Letterboxd review. If you're ever going to remake a movie, Spontaneous Combustion is the movie to remake. Like there is, when we covered Zombie Nightmare, there is a good movie in there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't executed initially. Like you need
But
to
I
go,
can see it. It's there. I can see it.
We can go back go back and then redo it and then make it a better
You can
movie.
sit, watch it, and be like, I know what they were going for. And then you can build it. It's just good enough that you can build it in your head to be better than it actually
Yes,
is.
exactly. Like there is something there.
Yes.
But the execution was lackluster. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough that I'd probably rewatch it one day. It would probably be a fun one for us to cover on Haunted Hall in the future. And I don't even think it has a lot of releases.
I think that DVD might be it.
and it might be out of print. It might be like an $80 DVD.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to do. I want to start doing a segments of that of out of print films. So maybe we do that.
Yeah, that's something else we could definitely do in the future.
I have a bunch of stuff in my collection. I'm sure you do. That let me see. There is a Blu-ray.
Really?
Yes. And it looks like the Blu-ray might be out of print too because it's $50.
Wow. So Spontaneous Combustion, a hard movie to find on physical media.
Yeah. It's a $50 Blu-ray.
That's wild. I'm sure the DVD probably is up there too then.
Probably no, the DVD is probably not worth anything because there's a Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's a shitty like Anchor Bay Blu-ray. It's like when Anchor Bay was releasing everything. But the other movie that I mentioned earlier is Tenement. Tenement. Sorry, not Tenet. Yeah. That's Christopher Nolan. Tenement, directed by Roberta Findlay, who
I love Roberta Findlay.
She makes a lot of great kind of exploitation, sleazy, New York from the Bronx, from New York. Mm-hmm. This is the epitome of sleazy 80s exploitation New York movie, like exploitation basically. It is glorious. I don't know why I waited. I had it on my watch list for a long time. I don't know why I waited so long to watch it because this is my type of movie. And I sat there, dude, 1 week. I put it on 3 times.
Wow.
I put it on. I didn't sit and watch. I watched it like maybe 1.5, 2 times almost. But I had it on in the background while I was editing one night. And I thought, dude. So real quick, the plot of Tenement is you've got this gang of drug crazed criminals from the South Bronx, the decrepit, just like. The South Bronx in the 80s, if you've ever seen pictures of it, Google it, looked like this. It was like crumbled down, like buildings just on the floor, destroyed. Yeah. It was terrible. It's still pretty shitty now in 2024, but this was worse. But you've got this gang who take claim of this tenement building, and they live in the basement where they do their drugs, where they play with guns and kill rats, and you have switchblades and all kinds of silly shit. They're just derelicts that hang out in the basement of this building. And the tenants that live in the building want them out. So what happens? The super, I think he's the super, calls the cops on them. They get arrested. And now this gang wants to, the people in the building are celebrating, by the way, because they're like, yeah, we got rid of them. Hooray. And they're in the middle of having a party. The gang comes back to get revenge for being assholes. Like, they're shitty people, but they want their building back. So they're going to go in and kill all the people in the building. It's through and through a exploitation movie. There's rape. There's animal slaughter in it. You know, again, I'm spoiling some stuff, but not everything. A dog is killed.
That's another. I'm gonna watch that this week because I did not know it's on Tubi. I didn't know
Yeah.
that, and it's Roberta Findlay, so I want to watch it.
There's animal murder. Like, you know, they do everything you're not supposed to do in a movie. They do it. Animals are killed. Old
I'm
people.
sold.
Again, it's ridiculous, over the top acting, scenes that you're just like, what the hell are they doing? A lot of sleeveless shirts.
It was the 80s. They didn't sell sleeves in the 80s.
No sleeve. Everything about it was just, I loved it. Like, I 4 stars. As soon as I saw, I was like, this is great. Like,
beautiful.
And you know, there's a movie Siege. I think you mentioned to me a while ago. I had never seen.
Siege.
Finally saw it. It's in that realm.
I was going to ask if it was.
I'd say Tenement is sleazier than Siege.
Well, I'm sure of that. Siege was more like they were trying to make a point out of the film.
Yeah.
Like they had something to say. Look, Roberta Findlay doesn't have anything to say other than I'm going to make a movie and you're going to either like it or hate it. She just made movies. That's it.
And this is a prime example of just like pure, I guess, like pure 80s sleaze. You know, when like I was watching, what was I watching recently? I think
what's that Linda Blair movie? Is it like that Linda
Savage
Blair
Streets?
No, the home invasion one.
Grotesque?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like which I actually watched recently, but I had seen that one before.
Yes, that's a good one.
That's a great one. Kind of like that, but dare I say sleazier. Like there's certain elements. Like
that movie felt dirty too. It felt like I was like, oh, what am I watching here? Sometimes
this
just
is
the feel of it.
Yeah, this is kind of like that, but more in like the almost Abel Ferrer, like early Abel Ferrer, Driller Killer, Ms. 45, but not as glamorous, I guess, because you're like in a really like poor neighborhood, the buildings falling apart, everything. Literally, it's like a building and everything around it's like a war zone. It's just like destroyed, empty buildings, fucking concrete.
Kind of how Siege was,
Yeah, like dude, I loved it, and I'm mad at myself for only seeing it now. So I wanted to share that here. Tenement, so good. I'm probably gonna watch it again in another couple days. I'll just throw it. It was so. I was in Florida and I put it on for like 20 minutes, only like a couple minutes. I was like, this movie's so good. I was like, I'm gonna.
And again,
I was at my mom's house. And
watching?
I was by myself. I watched like the first 20 minutes of it. It's so sleazy, but I fuck like the characters are just pieces of shit. Like that's what's driving the movie in a movie like that. You know, it's not, I'd say a movie like Savage Streets, which I'm also a big fan of. I think I've mentioned it on the show before.
Yeah.
It's not as well written as Savage Streets. Like that's a better written, probably better directed film, but this is glorious too. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. One more quick one that I finally saw, two that I was sleeping on that came out a few years ago was the Micah Monroe movie Watcher.
Okay.
Is it The Watcher or Watcher?
Watcher. The Watcher. I don't know. It's one of the, I don't know.
What a great movie. I'm so mad too that I waited so long to find like that movie has some of the like best cinematography I'd seen the last few years.
When I first saw it, I was torn.
Oh, really? I loved it.
Well, see, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
But it was also one of those like, I am so fucking tired of watching movies where this girl is clearly being stalked by somebody and not a single person believes her. Like I said, I think my Letterboxd review was like, just call it gaslighting the movie.
Yeah. I get
like
what
that's
you're saying.
all it is. But I've watched it 2 or 3 times since, and every time I watch it, I like it more than the last time because it's excellent.
That scene on the subway when she's sitting across from him on the subway. That's excellent. That's an excellently crafted
And if you haven't seen The Stranger yet, watch that too.
Yeah, I have to watch that. I haven't seen that yet.
I watched that when it was on Quibi in 2020. When it was, I watched it on that, and now it's finally coming out as a film.
Okay, yeah, I gotta watch that one.
I think it's on Hulu.
She's in that too, right? Micah Monroe, right? Yeah. So
she's in that.
Yeah. We've
I've
joked
been on a
around.
Micah Monroe kick. I've been watching. I've been watching a bunch of movies with her and Dan Stevens this year. Like I've seen a ton of stuff from both of them.
It all goes back to The Guest, which all these movies now have Easter eggs to that movie. Kong, Godzilla, and Abigail, which we should close out
Speaking of Abigail,
yes,
speaking of Easter eggs,
the last movie we'll talk about here is probably the big horror film that just
Mhm.
came out. Big, I guess, big mainstream
Yep.
horror film that just came out. Everyone, unfortunately, from what I'm seeing, it didn't make a lot of money, so not a lot of people are seeing it,
Mm.
which is a bummer.
That is a bummer, but
Spoiler warning here, because we are going to spoil it the next few minutes talking about it, just giving our thoughts on Abigail. Some stuff might slip out. So if you haven't seen it yet,
wow.
that's why we're saving it for last right now. If you haven't seen it yet, we don't want to mess it up for you because we know it's a fairly new film. But yeah, Manny, let's dive into
Only, yeah,
Abigail.
it hasn't even hit 20 million yet. That's
It's
crazy.
sad. It was a really
It was great.
so
Oh,
with the whole radio silence and I loved Ready or Not. I thought Ready or Not was a lot of fun. Samara
yep.
Weaving is great.
Love
And
it.
she's great in that. I enjoy their Scream movies.
Mhm.
I prefer their kind
but-
of original.
I do like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy about it, but I like what they did with it.
Yeah.
That subway sequence is the best sequence in
Yeah,
all of the
yeah.
Scream films.
Yeah.
It is the best that is the top of the rest of the film. But that subway perfection.
Yeah. And for me, I'd rather them as filmmakers make their own shit. You know, even though
clearly
this
they're-
yeah, even though Abigail's technically a universal monster, very loosely based on Dracula's daughter, but it's like
Yeah.
by a thread. That's how loose it is. It's not even
Yeah.
there isn't anything about Abigail that's
It's the concept of Dracula's daughter. Really.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
But I will say kind of like, and I watched Ready or Not like a day or two after watching Abigail. And I'm like, these guys should just stick with making. Unfortunately, it's not what makes them money.
No.
Obviously, the Scream movies killing it at the box office. Abigail obviously is not, and that's an original kind of concept
Yeah.
to an extent.
Sucks too.
But dude, I thought so when I left the theater, because when I went into it, I didn't read any reviews. I didn't watch any videos. I normally don't. I try to go in with a blank slate. I did that when we went to go see Late Night with the Devil. I don't want to know much about the movie. I'll watch a trailer, and that's probably it. When I left the movie theater, the first thing I told, because I was once again with Chris, and I left and I go, that was probably the most charismatic cast
Oh yeah.
of actors I have seen, like an ensemble cast I've seen in a movie in a while. Like every single actor in that movie they were like likable assholes,
Yes.
except for what's her name? Barrera. I forget her first name.
Melissa
Melissa Barrera,
Barrera.
the main character. I think her name was Joey in the movie, if I remember correctly.
Catherine Newton dancing to Danzig.
To
Oh,
Dancing, which was great. And then
Dude.
she's kind of become a little bit of like a scream queen with Lisa Frankenstein and Freaky and this.
That's what I said when I was like, she gave us Lisa Frankenstein,
Yeah.
and now she's dancing to Danzig. Oh,
great. It's
After
great.
my own heart.
She's great in it. The big dude who I recognized him.
Oh, I love him.
Chris told me he was in like one of the X-Men movies and
He was in, I think it was Smoking Aces.
Yes.
Which is, I loved. I thought he was hilarious in that.
and he was hilarious in Abigail. Like
Yeah, I've seen him in a bunch of other things too.
Melissa Barrera as like the lead character was great. The little girl, like she was literally every actor in this movie was just like oozing with charisma. Even the one guy who passed away from Euphoria, forget his name, Angus Cloud, I think, or something like that.
Yes.
It's not a big role, but he's just fucking funny unintentionally. And
The killer in
loved
Tragedy
it.
Girls.
Oh, okay, which was another really great
Kevin
fun
Durant.
movie.
That
Yes.
was what he was the killer in Tragedy Girls.
I was trying to think. I was like, I can't think of another cast.
That's where you probably recognize him
Yeah,
the most.
I recognized them from something, and I was like, I can't quite put my finger on it. Smoking Aces is great too, but
Yep.
I'm just like, wow, this every single Giancarlo Esposito, like every
Oh
actor,
man, I saw his name in the credits. I
Every-
said yes.
dude, him too. He's got like 2 scenes, but he's fucking
And he's
kills it,
great.
kills it in everything. But like, I'm trying to think of a movie that has literally every character is on point. Even the actor from Watchmen, I forget his name, who plays her father. Spoiler alert, Dracula
Oh, yeah.
at the very end. He was great in his one scene. Like it just, And it's a shame that more people
Matthew
aren't.
Good.
Yeah, it's a shame that more people aren't talking about it or going to see it. I think Abigail is gonna it's gonna be a bigger deal when it's on streaming somewhere.
Yes,
That's when people are
100%.
gonna discover it because
It's gonna.
it's such a shame. Now, I will admit, I thought it was. I thought I like Ready or Not more,
Okay. Yeah.
but I would
Yes.
say it's not by much.
No.
You know, I thought there were I thought they were kind of almost on par, which is why I'm like these guys should just continue making original shit. But no, I bet you they'll be directing the new I Know What You Did Last Summer or something in the next five. We'll hear that in the next few months that they're directing another franchise or something, or Friday the 13th or something like that, because
I mean,
that's really where the paycheck is. But yeah, what did you think of Abigail?
I loved it. I thought it was great. Same thing. I think I liked Ready or Not more, but I thought that it was. I've said it. I've said before that they have in the '80s and the early '90s. There was a horror comedy style that was nailed. That they nailed that horror comedy between like things like Ghostbusters and Fright Night and Once Bitten, where it rides that line where it's the perfect kind of mix of the two,
Yeah,
horror and comedy. And then it kind of died off where it was like, this is kind of funny. It's kind of where they really
yeah,
didn't. And I think recently, what's his name, Christopher Landon has been doing a great job in
yeah.
nailing that, like Happy Death Day and think he
Freaky. Yeah,
nailed, Freaky. He nailed that horror comedy vibe, and I think that Radio Silence is doing the same thing. That they're able to nail that vibe for the first time in a long time. You have real film. These films are genuinely right in the middle of being a horror film or being a comedy, and the tone and the pacing is perfect. Tragedy Girls was a
yeah,
little more horror than comedy, so a lot of the comedy didn't land. It was still a great film. I still
yeah.
enjoyed it, but the comedy didn't totally land in that. And that was, so it ended up being a little more lopsided because it felt like they wanted it to be funnier than it was.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
leaned more into the comedy, that movie, from what
it
I remember. I
it
haven't seen it in a few
leaned,
years.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it wasn't as funny as it should have been. So it ended up being more of a flat horror film.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Very
know,
good. Dude, Ready
um,
or Not is
perfect. I think
hilarious
yes, it's
and
absolutely
fucking
hilarious.
gory and fun. You know what they would you know what else it reminded me of too? Clue. Just like a
Yeah,
group of actors that everybody is on point. And like
yeah.
I think they would be great. Like if they ever wanted to make a new Clue movie with an ensemble cast, obviously
I
Knives
think there
Out is
is a new
kind.
Clue movie coming out.
I know, but I know Knives Out is kind of that, you know.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
not the same.
I
Yeah,
think I think if they wanted to make like an R-rated Clue movie,
hmm,
they would be the perfect
yeah,
people to direct something like that. Just the way Abigail and Ready or Not look, the colors used, just kind of the color grading, the way the films look, the
yeah.
use of large cast, like a large cast. Dude, I think they would kill a Clue movie and add kind of like a
Well,
horror element in it because there's murder and stuff like that. I think they'd be perfect for that, especially after watching Abigail and then watching Ready or Not again. Like after watching a few days after, like I was like, wow, these guys would be able to kind of do like a murder mystery type movie in
hmm,
that same, almost that same world, but using an IP like Clue, where they can
yeah.
use Mr.
Well,
Green
there is
and
a new Clue movie coming out. I had
yeah.
to look because I knew that it was there. Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman are producing it,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's being written by the guys who wrote Deadpool and Zombieland.
Oh, okay. So not radio silence.
Not Radio Silence, but could be just as good.
Possibly, but that's what
Yeah,
this like. Even watching these movies, like they're both in big mansions.
yeah,
Like everything about them
yeah.
screams that to me. And watching Abigail, I was like, wow. Honestly, they should let these guys direct another Universal Monster themed,
Hmm.
like adjacent movie, because they do such a great job. They did such a great job with Abigail and just kind of portraying a child vampire and even an adult
It
vampire at
was
the
and
end.
it was really good.
And it was great, dude. And it was gory as fuck too. Fucking severed heads, ripped out neck. Like at the end of it,
Almost as
Melissa
bloody as
Barrera.
Renfield.
Yeah, at the end of she's like drenched in blood. Like it's fucking. It was great. Like it was just everything about it was a lot of fun. Like you said, the dancing scene with the
Oh,
ballerina, that was
as soon
great.
as I heard the
Yeah,
I was like, oh! I was in the theater. I
fucking
knew it like
dancing.
2 notes in. I knew it immediately. I was like, are you kidding?
What was the last movie that used dancing? I can't even tell you. It's been a while.
Other than his own movies?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What was the last movie that used dancing in like a great iconic scene like that?
Oh, nothing like that.
I can't think of anything. No, I can't think of a horror film that used
no,
it. Maybe
no.
The Hangover, one of those, but that's not really a horror movie. Maybe one of them
Yeah,
used the dancing song. I think
he
one of them
was,
might have. Maybe not. I don't even know.
soundtrack, Yellow Jackets. Oh, they used it in Yellow Jackets. They would Mother.
Everyone uses
Yeah,
Mother and everything.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's always been a popular choice. Now, it was a great movie.
What's funny is he's not even credited. That's crazy. Like it's in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Blood and Tears was also in Todd and the Book of Evil, the TV show.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I don't think Danzig's never been used to that effect where it's
Yeah.
like, wow, this,
Probably the best use of a Glenn Danzig song.
yes, totally.
It's like his music, like his solo stuff. Because the Misfits have popped up in other movies.
The Misfits
like,
have been around, but
at
no,
the end credits of the end credits of Thanksgiving was a Misfits song. So there you go. But
yeah,
dude.
and
Abigail's
what you were
great.
saying earlier, what brought us into this is Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Easter egg in this.
Okay.
In Abigail, there is a connection to Ready or Not.
Oh, really? What is it?
One of the paintings in the room is the father from Ready or Not.
So it's the same universe, basically.
Yes.
Ah, interesting.
Yes, that
Interesting.
they are actually the way they explained it was they said that the great whatever grandfather of that family is related to the vampire somehow,
Ah.
or maybe the great grandfather was a vampire as well.
Interesting.
So they
I
might
didn't even catch that. I didn't
yeah,
even catch the reference.
Yep, the father's painting is in there.
Do you think it's going to end up on your list of favorite films of 2024?
It's up there.
You think it's going to be on
no,
there?
no, it is up there. You know what? I can give you a little update. I'll tell you right now. As of right now, yes, actually, my Abigail is on my number 6 for the year so far.
Wow. Still got a lot. We're still not even halfway through the year, so we still got a lot of movies coming out. So
no, I got to move that one over.
you got to bounce them around in your
because I'm
letterbox.
throwing things on the list, and when you throw things on a list in Letterboxd, it automatically adds it to the bottom. So I got to drag some stuff up already, But Low Lifes I just watched, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Tubi original. Give that one a watch. That one might surprise
check
you.
that out. I have a list, man. My watch list on Letterboxd right now as we speak.
Thousands.
Is through the roof for 2024. It's like I'm gonna get to watching like what is it? Love Lies Bleeding. I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
That's
not a horror movie though, but
it's more genre, but still it's in that sort of horror adjacent. A24. It's kind of one of those weird ones. But there's a bunch of stuff, man. I'm gonna be catching up. I'm sure when we do one of these in the future, this will not be the last time we do recently seen. And some of the movies you mentioned, I might be giving my perspective on.
You will be. Oh, I guarantee
time.
you will be when you see them. You haven't seen First Omen yet?
Not yet. I have not seen First Omen.
I didn't see Immaculate.
Yeah,
I want to see it. But
I'm catching up.
First Omen is a straight up 1970s Italian like possession demon movie. It has got that slow burn style. It feels like part of the Omen legacy. Like it feels like an Omen movie.
I was talking to somebody, and I haven't seen it yet, like you said, but I feel like that was a sleeper movie. People thought it was going to be a piece of shit.
Yep.
And it ended up like blowing people away. So I'm going to, as soon as that's like available to rent, I'm going to rent it because I want to see that. Yeah. Immaculate 2 looks sick. So I want to see that. So I'm still recently seen. I still got a lot needs to be seen.
Fine.
constantly going. But this was fun. We'll be doing another one of these soon. I don't know when. We try to do these monthly episodes once a month. Maybe we'll try to do 2. Maybe we try to aim for another one in the future.
If we, yeah, like I said, if we're watching that many movies, we're gonna have updates and like, hey, throw a half hour little live on just to say, hey, here's four great movies I watched recently. You need to check it out.
You saw a lot of good shit, man, at the
Yeah,
Overlook Film Festival. So I'm jealous. I'm gonna be catching up with the movies you saw the next few months.
yeah.
So I look forward to that. Just kind of some of the movies
Trust me,
that you told me.
it was not a cheap endeavor either.
I'm sure. Sure that credit card is looking
Woo!
mighty. Those zeros are looking
dude,
mighty,
that
mighty
that
rough.
tax check went out just as quickly as it came in.
Came in, went right
It's
back out. All to
Boom,
see,
it
all to
was
watch horror
deposited
movies.
and right back out, like gone. I didn't even get to taste it.
Uncle Sam said, "Here you go," and you went, "There you go." There goes right back.
Whole vacation was sitting on a credit card. I was like, well, there goes that.
There goes that money. Hi, goodbye.
Yep.
That's a good place to end the show. Be
Yeah.
sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, wherever, at Haunted Hangover. Head
Yep.
over to hauntedhangover.com. Check out the Patreon page. I've been dropping episodes of the podcast early for Patreon subscribers. You're getting them
they're
almost a
so
week
lucky.
early. Almost a week early, our regular episodes. So go support. Really appreciate it. Rate and review us
Yep.
wherever you're listening to this. If you're only listening to the audio only version. And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is...
More booze.
Catch you guys later. Xenomorph, Alien Day, 2 days ago.
Happy 420. A little late.
426.
426. 26 is the.
It's
It
426.
is the 29th, dude.
No, but 426 is Alien Day.
Oh, yes.
Bye, guys.